In 1974, McCarthy made a deliberate choice to become the king of Southwest writing. But why did he choose the Southwest? Why didn't he become the king of Pacific Northwest writing or the Los Angeles scene? And it's not for the reason that you think. And today we are going to hear from McCarthy himself on why he moved to the Southwest. And if you guys don't already know, my name is Ian, and on Right Conscious, we talk about Cormac McCarthy. I already have in the playlist down below 175 videos on McCarthy, with that list growing daily. So I would love to have you here discussing McCarthy, because when you are talking about books, it is time not wasted. So let us now hear from McCarthy on the South, and I think you guys are really going to love this quote. Quote, "I ended up in the Southwest because I knew that nobody had ever written about it. Besides Coca-Cola, the other thing that is universally known is cowboys and Indians. You can go to a mountain village in Mongolia and they'll know about cowboys, but nobody had taken it seriously, not in 200 years. And I thought, here's a good subject, and it was." So everyone, what did McCarthy just do there? We just broke the internet with my marketing advice that I've been spewing about McCarthy for a couple months now. He made a deliberate branding choice. He decided to move to the Southwest, not because he liked saguaro cactuses or horses or the mamacita Latinas. He didn't move here for that, everybody. Those are benefits of moving to the Southwest. I live in Tucson currently, but he moved here because he saw an underutilized market, a market that he could capitalize on. And does that sound like intuitive writing? Does that sound like McCarthy was maybe planning to make it big? Because in 1976, what did McCarthy start to do? He started to write The Gardener's Son, a screenplay, the No Country for Old Men screenplay, The Cities of the Plains screenplay. He also started to adapt Faulkner's As I Lay Dying as a screenplay. Why would he be trying to break into an industry that, pays a ton, Hollywood, the most corrupt industry in all of media, if he was still just trying to be a broke writer? And McCarthy made a choice. Okay, and I've been telling you guys this for months also. What are you going to be known for? McCarthy deliberately chose something that he could make a splash in, and it hadn't been taken in 200 years. Seriously, in 200 years, and I was going to be the next guy. What are you going to be taken seriously in? And McCarthy had been training in the South and becoming a great writer. And that's step number one. If you are not a good writer, then you can't make a transition to a place that you've never lived and write something like Blood Meridian in a decade. Like, that's some OG shit right there. There have been plenty of authors, including myself, who have lived in the Southwest their entire life and can't write like McCarthy. And after Blood Meridian's failure, having sold 1,800 copies across 7 years from 1985 to 1992, McCarthy dropped Random House, signed with Nom for whatever their name is, and made a deliberate push by giving interviews and approving marketing campaigns in Esquire and other magazines to become the next big thing, to get a marketing push and to create a persona around himself in a market that is almost endless. Westerns, surprisingly, still sell very well in movie theaters, and that's why Blood Meridian is going to be adapted. I'm sure, even if it's not a great movie, that it will far exceed its budget. And I also don't want you to lose confidence, because the market is oversaturated. You can't come and write about cowboys and Indians and aspire for success like McCarthy, because even the best writers in the genre, Philip Myers, the son, didn't make that much money. I think it probably netted him 6 figures, but it's not kind of one of these massive books that's, going to help you quit your day job or lead to opportunities that will. But the bottom of the barrel is always the most crowded. I know so many guys who want to write cute poetry like Bukowski. People who even want to write like McCarthy, think they are writing like these guys. But the cream is going to rise to the top in terms of who puts the most amount of time, most likely over the course of decades. Because McCarthy, before he moved, had put in at least, 17 years into writing every single day, making it his full-time job. How close are you to that goal? How far are you away from that? And kind of the bigger the market, the bigger the ask, and the better the writer you have to be. So McCarthy wanted to dominate cowboys and Indians, but it wasn't really the most insane market in the 1980s and 1990s. There had been kind of a fall off, especially in literature, of Western novels. And the same year that McCarthy published Blood Meridian, Lonesome Dove came out. So it was, a great year in that sense. But McCarthy had already started working on All the Pretty Horses and The Crossing, I think, as more of a nostalgic effect and a more chill version of what he was doing. He started to fall in love with the area and New Mexico, which exploded the intuitive part of his nature writing. Because I would say it does take about a decade or so to become very familiar with an area and to be able to write about it at a super high level like McCarthy did in Blood Meridian. But McCarthy in Blood Meridian writes in the King James style or the Oxford English Dictionary style with, beautiful prose that's sometimes hard or esoteric. And when we transition to The Crossing and All the Pretty Horses, which come out almost 20 years after he moved to the Southwest, you can tell he can connect in a minimalistic way with nature. It doesn't have to be this epic thing that has to be conquered. He can let it kind of intuitively speak for itself, which is the level of mastery that McCarthy does hit also in Suttree. And it's a really beautiful thing to be able to watch that, because it gives me motivation, and it should give you guys all motivation that it's 10 to 15 years away, which may seem like a long time now, but in the long run, it is not. And the best part about connecting with settings in place is that you get to go outside and do it. I get to go camping with my wife and sleep in the back of our SUV and have all these beautiful experiences because we're both writers and we both understand the implicit value of just spending minutes, hours, days out there and putting in the time to be able to get the reciprocal reward of understanding nature at a deeper level than language. Because once that happens and you really connect with nature, then the words don't appear instantly. It's still very hard to transmit what you're feeling to paper. That's a struggle that a lot of writers have had, and I think most humans have had. Putting something in the written word that describes exactly something as beautiful as love, as sex, as nature is almost impossible. And so I think it takes some intuition and some tinkering for a long time to be able to break through to the other side. But even though the larger audiences are much smaller in literary fiction and Westerns and a lot of the type of books that we want to write, the good thing is that it's easier than ever to reach these niche audiences, to reach people who want to read something like a Cormac McCarthy. Because if you are actually that good and you have a halfway decent marketing strategy, you will get noticed eventually. Word of mouth will start to spread and you'll gain a loyal fan base of readers, even if it's small. But even just having 1,000 people to purchase your novel when it launches is massive. And over the course of 10 years, if you are building in your certain sector, making an email list that is, let's say, even 5,000 people, and 10% of those people on your email list buy your book, well, that's $500. Let's say you make $6 a copy. That's $3,000 on launch. Plus, let's say those 500 people, another 10% of them, 1% of the initial 5,000, leave a review on your book. Well, that means in the first month, you've already made $3,000 and have 50 reviews on a book, which is a great start and 99.9% further than most books that have really ever been published in the last 20 years. And so what I'm saying is not rocket science, and it's the author's issue. It's not maybe it is impossible to break into literary fiction, to be the next big thing, to be on all the bookshelves and in the airport, or be talked about at the writing circles. I understand that. But to have 500 to 1,000 people that will buy your book on launch, every single one of you guys can do that, even without showing your face or doing marketing like this, just with your releasing free writing alone. Anyway, if you guys don't already know, I run a Cormac McCarthy course, a Cormac McCarthy book club. I sell Cormac McCarthy t-shirts. I have a free PDF on Cormac McCarthy's favorite books down below. I have a free course for writers and a free community for writers to learn how to build their audience and improve as a writer that I am launching very soon. The links to all that is down in the description below if you guys want to support me and dive deeper into my Cormac McCarthy course, which is already over 25 hours and a ton of other content. I would love to see you guys there, and I will see you guys in the next video.